Think of the perfect night of romance. Dinner at an expensive restaurant, maybe a moonlit walk, or even better, a horse-drawn carriage ride under the stars. You feel the gentle breeze on your skin, hear the serenading of crickets, and the clip-clop of the horse's hooves. Or actually the drag clop, and her loud, labored wheezing, and the click grind of teeth against metal as she neurotically chomps at the bit. Like I said, romantic. Hi, it's Emily from Bite Size Vegan, and welcome to another Vegan Nugget. This video is the fourth in my series on horse ethics. In the first, we looked at horse riding in general and the musculoskeletal damage that it causes, as well as whether riding itself is ethical. In the second, we took a closer look at the effects of the bit in particular. And in the third, we took a hard look at possibly the largest, cruelest, and most deeply corrupt horse industry, horse racing. I strongly urge you to watch the video on horse racing to further expose the industry for what it is, a cash machine built literally on the backs of living sentient beings who are also literally ridden into the ground and discarded. I have links to that video and the entire horse ethics playlist in the video description below. But today we're going to talk about the horse carriage industry. Carriage horses are a long-standing tradition in many cities in the United States and internationally. In some areas of the world, they are still a practical means of transportation. What I'm going to focus on today are entertainment-based horse carriage rides. You can watch my video on horse riding for the ethical and vegan stance on even the practical use of horses. Also, I won't be going into the effects of the bit and harnesses, as I covered those in detail in the previous videos. Horse carriage rides have been in and out of the news in the United States in recent years, especially with New York Mayor Bill de Blasio's 2013 campaign platform, including the clear intention to ban the industry altogether and replace horse-drawn carriages with clean energy electric cars, something he is still struggling to achieve, as he's repeatedly come up against strong opposition. Before I get into the arguments on either side, let's take a look back at the origins of this industry. It was roughly sometime around 6000 BC when we realized we could get animals to carry things for us. And sometime around 3500 BC, when we added wheels to a sled to make the first cart. And then sometime around 1300 BC, when we had the genius idea to shove a piece of metal between the teeth of a horse to control them better. Fast forward a good deal, and the first stagecoaches for hire were introduced in London as early as 1625. It wasn't till around 1825 that regular stagecoach services were established in the United States, with hansom cabs operating in major cities and stagecoach lines running on regular schedules throughout the East by the 1840s. So that's a pretty long-held tradition as far as the United States is concerned. You see, we think 100 years was incredibly long ago. So, horse-drawn carriages are a time-honored tradition. And guess what? So is animal abuse. According to Lee Siegel's engaging article, Plomping Towards Oblivion, the horse-drawn carriage business was constantly being regulated and re-regulated, but abuse of the animals was common practice. Interestingly enough, it was brazen cruelty like drivers whipping their horses openly that spurred the formation of the now well-known ASPCA, or American Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, in 1866. And while the ASPCA did make headway in ensuring a higher standard of treatment for carriage horses, they also became the leading killer of horses in the city, as insurance companies wouldn't pay for lame horses if the policyholder shot them, so the ASPCA operatives would. With the rise of the automobile, by the 20s, horse-drawn carriages were becoming more of a romantic luxury, or quaint and charming activity. In New York City, the carriage horses were limited to the area around and inside Central Park in 1989. Since then, multitudes of various rules and regulations have come and gone. Temperature and time limits, vacation mandates, and the like. So, let's look at the arguments for and against the carriage horse industry. Opponents cite the sobering array of horse-drawn carriage accidents, resulting in property destruction and the severe injury or even death of horses and humans alike. The majority of the accidents are caused by horses spooking, meaning being frightened and taking off or acting erratically. A survey of national carriage horse accidents found that 70% of the time there was a human injury and 22% of the time there was a human death. The survey also found that in New York City, which has the highest carriage horse accident rate in the country, 98% of the horses who spooked became injured. Injuries and fatalities resulting from collisions between cars and horses have occurred in almost every city that allows carriage rides. Carriage horses also sometimes collapse from heat exhaustion, which can and has been fatal. I've linked to an incidents fact sheet in the blog post for this video, along with other articles and resources if you want to look further into this subject. The blog post is linked in the video description below. Aside from the incidents and injuries, horse-drawn carriage opponents also cite the objectionable living and working conditions. While there are supposed to be time and temperature limits for carriage horses, the spokeswoman for the New York City carriage industry, Christina Hansen, was caught on tape in July 2014 giving a carriage ride after the city had suspended drivers due to the extreme heat. Horses are afforded no federal protection under the Animal Welfare Act, so the responsibility for looking out for the horses' welfare falls to local animal control officials, who often simply don't have the time, resources, or even interest to properly enforce city mandates. These horses are working 9 hours a day, breathing in exhaust fumes, and trudging along on hard pavement. Veterinarian Jeffrey Rozelle states that tracheal washes and samples from respiratory secretions of these horses showed enormous lung damage, the same kind of damage you would expect from a heavy smoker, adding that carriage horses are truly living a nose-to-tailpipe existence. Sadly, their off hours aren't much brighter. In New York City in particular, carriage horses live in a multi-storied stable that they have to walk up and down to their sometimes windowless 60-square-foot stall. Raids on stables have found standing excrement, rotten floorboards leading to broken legs, and lack of fresh water and food. This is not to say that all carriage horse stalls are in deplorable condition. But regardless, these animals go from walking in circles on concrete in clouds of exhaust to walking up several stories to their closed concrete stalls, with the constant walking and standing on hard surfaces. Veterinarian Holly Cheever states that lameness and hoof deterioration are inevitable. So, what happens when these horses' bodies finally betray them? Like most failed racing horses, the final destination for many carriage horses is slaughter. They are sent to auction to be sold for a pittance, shipped to Canada or Mexico, and slaughtered for pet food or overseas human consumption. It's a terrifying, painful, and thankless end to their life of servitude. So, what are the arguments for keeping this industry around? Well, carriage rides are kind of fun. Okay, that's not the only reason given. Those fighting to save the industry mainly cite tradition and the jobs of the carriage drivers, and are sure to mention that in New York City, carriage horses have a mandated 5 weeks a year in open pastures. Talk about your lavish vacation, eh? Making the news many times, actor Liam Neeson is surprisingly passionate about this issue, telling Jon Stewart that these guys treat their horses like their children, to which Stewart aptly responded, would not be seen as good parenting by the Division of Youth and Family Services. The stronger argument from this camp, in a sense, is that horse carriage drivers will be jobless with the dissolution of the industry. This argument is also often used against a worldwide shift to veganism. What would the workers of the animal products industry do? Well, with progress comes the loss of certain jobs, but the creation of others. Think about technology and all of the jobs that it has displaced, yet simultaneously created. There are people whose job it is to manage social media accounts. They are paid to tweet. Who saw that coming? On another note, think of it this way. If we found a way to cure all of the diseases in the world, doctors would be out of work. If we found a way to end all crime, law enforcement would be out of work. If we cured mental illness, therapists would be scrambling to support themselves. And hell, if we abolished all forms of animal exploitation, I'd have to make videos about cats or something. And also, just because you can make money from something doesn't make it right. The fact that people will lose their jobs and have to find alternative means of employment after the dissolution of an unjust industry does not make the industry just. We're talking dollars to lives. You can get another job, but these horses have but one life, and it's not meant to be spent like this. I'd love to hear from you on this topic. Where do you stand in the debate? Let me know in the comments. If you find these educational videos effective and helpful, please help them continue by supporting Bite Size Vegan. You can check out either of the support links in the video description below for both one-time donation information and to join the Nugget Army on Patreon, where you receive perks and rewards for your support. You can also click on that logo right there. If you enjoyed this video, give it a big thumbs up, and please share it around to spread the message. If you're new here, be sure to hit that big red subscribe button down there for more awesome vegan content every Monday, Wednesday, and some Fridays. I would love to have you as a subscriber. And hey, while you're here, be sure to check out some of my other related videos from the Horse Ethics playlist. And everything that I've mentioned and that's on the screen right now is also linked in the video description below for those of you who are on a phone or a tablet and can't do the clicking. Now go live vegan, and I'll see you soon. So if Liam Neeson thinks that the way carriage horses are treated is how you treat your children, someone should really check on his kids.